3D platformers are a fantastic genre that have given birth to some of the best and most creative games of all time, but the genre did kind of fall out of favour in the mid to late noughties. But over the past few years, this seemed to have had a bit of a rebirth with the genre with many great and fun new titles. But out of nowhere comes Balan Wonderworld, a new 3D platformer from the original Sonic creator Yuji Naka, and being published by Square Enix of all people. The game was announced last summer with a lavishly cool looking trailer, and now the game is finally out, so let's jump in and see how they did, shall we? Straight from the get-go, Balan Wonderworld is an incredibly odd experience. You're treated to a lavishly animated cutscene that sees some kids entering this back alley theatre to be greeted by this strange hatted creature called Balan, who then whisks the kids away to the island of Tims, a world filled with these little cuddly critters, and your main aim of the game is to help people out with their various issues. The problems that need solving are a very strange mix. We have a farmer who needs help from an up and coming storm that's about to destroy his crop. There's also another one where a young woman is attacked by her dolphin friend and seemingly left for dead. The whole game's tale is just so darn weird and nothing really actually makes any sense. It just feels like they had a load of ideas and just chucked them in to see if it works, and frankly, it doesn't. As for the actual gameplay, and as you know, the game is a 3D platformer, which is very exciting indeed, but as soon as you get to play it, the excitement just goes to disappointment as controlling your character feels incredibly stiff and not enjoyable at all. How your character feels is a big part of how enjoyable your platformer game can be. If the characters are stiff, then you've failed at the first hurdle. Continuing on, the worlds you visit in the game feel very basic in design, just with a load of boring and unchallenged platforming. It lacks any sort of creativity whatsoever. Each world consists of two levels and a fairly basic boss battle. The main aim of the level is just to simply reach the end of it, though there is a load of collectibles to nab. Comparing it to something like Ukulele or A Hat in Time, it's a night and day difference. The game does try to spice up the gameplay with the help of costumes. There's about 80 of them in the game, all offering unique abilities. But alas, these costumes just feel like a complete waste of time. Each of the costumes only have one ability each, and many of these costumes do exactly the same thing, just in an ever so slightly different way. A good example of this is that there's two costumes that allow you to swim, but only one of them allows you to jump out of the water. It's so strange and feels very superficial. The developers could have easily whittled down the list of costumes to about 20, but no, we have about 80 of them, and most of them are completely useless. You do have a few decent costumes like the spider one, which allows you to climb webs, and the wolf one, but the costumes just feel like a one and done sort of thing. The game's controls are also a problem, not only with how the characters feel to play, but it's also due to the costumes as well, because you see the game is entirely a one button game. You move around with the analog stick and press any of the face buttons to jump, but as soon as you gain access to a costume, the face buttons will do the costume special ability, and that's it. So if the costume you currently have equipped doesn't have the ability to jump, then you'll have to unequip it or use another costume. It's certainly a strange situation where you're actually banned from jumping in a platforming game. It's completely baffling. As for the length now, Balan is actually a decently sized platformer, taking you a good 10 hours to reach the game's equally baffling conclusion. There's a load of collectibles to nab in the game, such as the Tims and the trophies, so if you want to get them all, you're talking a good 15 or so hours. But why would you? Onto the presentation side of things now, and at first glance, Balan Wonderworld looks apart with its lavishly animated cutscenes. And honestly, that looks like where the majority of the game's budget went. To the actual game, and it's a bland looking title with flat and uninspired environments. It tries to be an inspiration from a bygone era, but it feels like a fossil that has just been recently unearthed. As for the performance, the game runs fair enough on PlayStation and Xbox consoles, running at 60 FPS, and runs decently well. As for the Switch version, you have the typical lesser resolution and a bit muddier textures, which makes the game even more bland. But it's the frame rate that's the real kicker here. Aiming for 30 FPS, the game struggles to keep up even in the slower moments, and the frame rate honestly just sticks around the 15 to 20 FPS mark, and that's unacceptable. Conclusion time now, and Blunderland is an absolute travesty of a title that amazes me how it's being sold as a full £50 title. It's a platformer with a complete lack of creativity and scope. Its gameplay is just a complete bore with slow and sluggish controls and a costume mechanics that's a complete waste of time and void of any depth. Its performance isn't much better, as on Switch the frame rate struggles to keep up. There's so many better platformers out there, so don't waste your money on this half-baked, boring waste of time. Balan Wonderworld gets a 3 out of 10 with the title of awful. As always, thank you for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed. If you could like and subscribe, that would be great. And until next time, happy gaming. Bye.